Champagne. Welcome to, we are talking about, this is a requested video, patron requested video, where we're talking about timelines and material reality. So in my last psychic predictions for you video, advice and vibes, I mentioned how we are cementing things in this reality currently. So you can sort of rename this as a very large manifesting period where things are coming to fruition and coming to fruition very quickly. We've been through a lot. We've been through eclipse season. We are coming out of eclipse season. We've got Jupiter direct. Of course, Uranus just went retrograde, but that's fine. We've got Mercury direct after a nice Mercury retrograde. We're headed into a full moon as I film this. We've had a lot going on. This is a big summer, right? And a lot of shifts, a lot of shifts. A lot of people have been emailing me saying, you won't believe what happened to me. Of course, this is all during eclipse season. This happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. Big changes. When it comes to implementing potential, which is exactly what we're doing right now, okay? It's basically the thing you've been concentrating on most, the energy you've been putting toward most, and plus the stuff that the universe is handing you. So if your eclipse season was like, oh, holy God, you're integrating that. So you're integrating the energy that you've created and even some of the things you've created. So it's not just the energy, but even some things that you're already starting to do in the material world. I can't talk today. In addition to whatever the universe handed you during the eclipse season, that's being cemented right now. So these energies that are being cemented right now, they're going to shift and change. The universe does shift and change. I mean, nothing is set in stone. Everything is fluid. Nothing is permanent. But what you've been working with for the spring and now the summer, if you're in the northern hemisphere, and fall and winter, if you're down under, it's now going to become real. So if you've been starting out and you kind of like, okay, let me think of a good example here. Okay, got one for you. So let's say eclipse season came and said, I'm taking out this relationship, I'm putting in this relationship. Or maybe it said, I'm taking out this relationship, and you said, I'm putting in this relationship. Okay, so you've spent the last couple months in this new relationship. The energy of the old relationship has spent the last couple months moving out. So everything you've been working with in that old relationship is now gone. It's not going into this reality you're cementing, number one. Number two, everything you've been doing in the new relationship, everything you've been doing. So if you've been subconsciously making a mess of things, if you've been in there going, oh, she doesn't like me, they're not into me, or I have to do all these things to keep them, or, I'm so desperate for love, blah, 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 blah. That's the energy you are now cementing into reality. So it's not just about the new relationship being cemented. It's not just that, because that may not be the case. It may be that the energy you've been working with internally is now going to come to fruition in this timeline, time period, what have you. So that's kind of what's going on here, is whatever you've been mucking about with, whether it is something the universe put on your plate and said, here, you can't have that job anymore. Or you grabbed out and said, I want to date a toxic person. That is coming to fruition. That you're going further into that energy. So obviously with a job, if you lost your job, you're not going further into the energy of I'm never going to have a job again. You're going further into the process of finding a new job. You're going further into the process of leaving the old job behind. If you are in a relationship with somebody that is toxic, you have a choice, obviously, but the energy of that is going to become evident. So whatever that you guys have been creating together in that relationship, you're going to start to see the effects of it filtering out in your life, in actuality, in reality, in material reality. Whether that is the relationship gets worse, whether that is you're feeling the consequences of it, and you're crying and you're this and you're that, and oh my God, do they want me, do they not want me, and oh my God, they said this and they did that, and oh my God, I found vaginas in the DMs. That's coming out. That kind of stuff is happening. So whatever you've been working on, whether it is, that's a weird thing. Did we just have an earthquake? I don't know. Whatever you've been working on, whether it's internal, whether it's external, whether it's both, again, whether it's something that you've chosen to work on or chosen to do, or it's something the universe said you're doing this, you're going deeper into that energy, and that energy is starting to become the day-to-day. It's not really for me about cementing in a new timeline. I know somebody had asked about that. It's not really about that. It's basically this is a you reap what you sow situation. And again, the stuff you've been working with, working on, striving for, trying for, or conversely, that the neuroses you've been you've been messing around with, it's becoming a material thing. It's becoming something that you can see, touch, hear, feel, taste. There is evidence forthcoming of all of this. That's what I say. That's what I mean when I say it's a material reality. So this is why I and many other people are very careful, when we tell you guys and ourselves, at least I tell myself, what energy you're working with, what are your persistent thoughts, what, in certain relationships, how are you acting, how are you perceiving things, how are you being perceived? Because eventually that becomes your reality. So if you're sitting there going, nobody loves me, nobody loves me, nobody loves me, nobody loves me, I'm waiting on a guy, I'm waiting on a guy, I'm waiting on a guy, or I'm waiting on a girl, I'm waiting on a girl. That, after a while, becomes less internal and more external. So I'm gonna do some cards for y'all. In a collective sense, I honestly feel like we're not there yet. I think this is more individual. I think a lot of people are having chickens come home to roost. I think things that were theories, things that were thoughts, things that you were imagining, all of a sudden, okay, that's a thing, that's real, it's possible, or here is the path to take a step to make that thing real and possible. A real path, not a woo-woo path, not a chanting path, not a get in front of your altar path, but like, here's the opening, do you want to go through the door now? That's the kind of stuff that's happening on individual levels. All of a sudden, there are availabilities to people where, again, what they've been working on comes back to them. What they've been looking for comes back to them. So if you have been sitting there, and I see this so much, especially with relationships, people going, all I want is love, why can't I find love, and oh, I just need somebody to love me, and blah, 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 blah. That is really bad energy to work with, because it just puts you in a longing state. It puts you in a state of near desperation, or sometimes total desperation. What you want to do is work with the energy of, I am finding love, I am going to find love, I love myself, that kind of a thing. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. So again, you are either going to start to see manifestations of that energy. Here's a path you can go on to find the love that you're looking for, or here's a path you can go on to continue to feel desperate and feel alone and not have a partner. There are openings here, okay? Does that make sense? You can't answer me. I mean, you can, but I can't hear you because this is pre-recorded. But I don't feel like it's super collective. I think collective energy is different. I'm going to read on that right now. But this to me feels more like individual energy, where it's like whatever you've been working with, striving toward, working for, or trying to avoid in such a way that you attract it to you, it's here. And not only is it here, but now it's coming into your day-to-day life. Again, something you can see, touch, feel, hear, taste. Something real, not ideas, not woo-woo, not thoughts, not energy, not energetic, but something that shows up at your door and says, I am real, I am here, I am solid, you can touch me. So let's look a little bit, throw cards, it's fine. Let's look a little bit at the collective energies and see what we're working with. Because that to me feels quite different. That doesn't feel to me like we've changed paths or anything's going to really shift too much. We're kind of, in the collective, we're kind of on a path already that has to play itself out. All right, let's see what we got. Oh. Collective energy is actually really nice. Let's see. Okay. Wow. So currently, collective energy is quite beautiful. I don't see the same cards here. So I see a lot of energetic stuff. And I have only 2 pentacles in this whole spread. Okay, I only have 2 pentacles in this whole spread. So no, that's not what we're talking about when I talk about the collective. We're not talking about grounding in a material reality. We're not talking about that. The collective is way more woo-woo, and it's not bad. To be honest, it's not bad. It's kind of nice. But these are all energetic and touchy-feely and woo-woo cards. These are not, and now this is your reality, but it's quite nice. Like it's nice stuff right now. This is very beautiful stuff right now, I must say. So let's look a little bit more at material realities and what you can do with yours. And of course, you know, you can always change stuff. You're in charge way more than you think. Most people think, especially people that are into psychic stuff, you know, oh, if a psychic tells me this, it's set in stone and it's going to happen no matter what. Not the case. Maybe most people don't think that. A lot of you don't. I know that. A lot of you guys are like, you know, hip to all that jive. Damn it. But let's say you know, damn it, auntie, I manifested a shitty thing. You know, I'm dealing with something I don't love in the current reality, or the universe handed me a shitty thing and I'm not enjoying it. So let's see what you can do to shift that. Oh, okay. Assisted suicide, my friends. Not in an actual way, but so you're dealing with something you don't like. Let it die. Help it die. Help it die. That's here. That's here. So you got to figure out, how am I going to shift out of this? Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. In order to shift out of it, I like these cards, you have to go into it, which seems like it might be counterproductive. It's not. The only way out is through. When you go into resistance, you actually perpetuate the state that you're in. I'm going to say it again. When you go into resistance, you actually perpetuate the state that you're in. I don't know why, but it's a thing, okay? It's a thing. So in order to help it die, you first have to accept it. So you lost your job, you feel like crap, you feel, you know, you're having trouble finding a new job. Sit with it. Okay, I lost my job. Why did I lose my job? Because it wasn't right for me anymore, because I was in the wrong place, because I complained that I was miserable for years and the universe finally took matters into its own hands. Because there's something better out there for me, because I was thinking about shifting my career anyway. because it's a massive opportunity for me to go somewhere else, be someone else, be somewhere else, do something else, learn new things. Okay. So once you accept where you are and why you're there, and you're not there because the universe hates you, and you're not there because it's eclipse season and shit happens, you're there for a reason. And it's always a positive reason. You know, a lot of people, I think we're just so trained and conditioned to go to the negative, and especially when something doesn't feel good, or you've lost your job, or you've lost your partner, whatever it is. It doesn't feel good, you don't like it, but the fact of the matter is, I've never in my life come across somebody who's had that happen to them that didn't not only bounce back from it, but upgrade from it. Never. I never have. I never have. So, you have to accept it. Okay, this is happening. Here's the positive reason or reasons why it's happening. Okay, I'm having trouble finding a job. What kind of energy am I putting out around that? I'm having trouble finding the relationship. What energy am I putting out? And you know, 9 times out of 10, people aren't opening to anything. They're pushing against something. That's not helpful. If you look at how things work in the universe and in the earth, and you know, you look at nature, it's not about pushing against something. Nobody ever does that. I sit outside every day. I work outside most of the time, and I see all these little creatures doing their thing. And never once have I seen one do something hard, okay? I've never seen one, like, you know, they just kind of accept how things work. Oh, this, you know, this flower has pollen, I'm gonna go get it. Oh, that one doesn't, I'll just leave. They don't sit there in the non-pollinated flower and you know, root around and flip out and start ripping at the petals, you know? So, the most important thing to do is figure out what kind of energy you're putting out. What kind of thoughts are you having? How do you feel in your body about it? If you're like this, you're thinking about finding a new job, that kind of tells the universe, I don't want a new job, I'm closed off. Don't want to do that. No, that kind of hurt. You want to open up to everything. You want to open up to exactly what it is you're looking for. So you get into desperation, you get into fear, you get into anxiety, you get into waiting energy, which is terrible energy, or you start pushing against something. That's your cue that you're creating something crappy for yourself. If you're doing that, stop. There you go. Onto wisdom. If you're doing it, knock it off. Stop if you're doing that. Figure out what you're putting out. Figure out the energy you're working with. I will probably guarantee you that 99% of you are going to be like, oh yeah, no, I was like putting out really bad energy. I do it too. I do it all the time. So, I mean, you know, we just have to like, get over here, go over here. You know, we have to redirect ourselves to a better place. But the only way you're going to assist this energy you don't like in going away is by going into it, looking at it, examining it, feeling it, talking to it, talking about it, and then shifting yourself. So, and that's here in the cards. The I Am card, the Magician here, right here for you guys. Shift yourself. That's how you fix it. You shift yourself. You walk away from what isn't working. So if you are in a space right now where you're like, okay, yes, I see that there are things coming to fruition that I don't necessarily want right now. You're in charge. To an extent, and sometimes totally. It depends on the person, it depends on the personality, it depends on their astrology. Astrology, I feel like we have more wiggle room. I know Lisa's like, that's like some fate shit, but I always feel like we have a little bit more wiggle room. So it does kind of depend on that. But for the most part, people are very much in charge of their lives and directing their lives and figuring out what they want to do. So you are the I Am. You are the I Am presence. You get to shift your energy. Once you shift your energy, and it's really interesting because these are the two cards that this guy is pointing to. Our Magician is pointing to. Okay, so see that. Boop. There we go. He's pointing to these two cards. So this is growth and this is energy. And this is walking away from stuff that doesn't work. So those are the two things you want to do. Now, I'm gonna say this. I think right now, this is a weird piece of advice, but I'm gonna give it to you. I think right now, keep a lot of things to yourself. I think guard your secrets, guard your information. I wouldn't start talking to a lot of people about stuff, whether it's in the negative or the positive, because I feel like sometimes that kind of puts weird energy onto it, or you get jealousy energy, or sometimes you get this really gnarly perspective from people who mean well. And you're like, well, they brought me down. This is terrible. You know, you want it, once you get yourself on the path, the energetic path, the thought path that you want, that you will be creating, right? You're going to create this in the outside world. Don't tell people about it, because that gives them a chance to influence you. And I think if you feel safe with somebody and you don't think they're going to bring you down, or they're super encouraging, very validating, then go for it. But other than that, I wouldn't be running my mouth about it. So let's see what else I can give you guys. Show me about this reality. Show me about the material stuff that we're going into. Show me that. Just show me kind of the general. It also feels like, you know, it's a really good time period to work on stuff. So manifesting, shifting, changing, what have you, it's a really good time period to work on that. It's a really good time period to set yourself up for 2020. Show me what else can you show me about this grounding in this material reality. I think we've been floating around a little bit, and I think we've been, as individuals, I think we've been kind of swinging, you know, like Tarzan through the trees a little bit. So it's kind of like, oh, I'm here, oh, I'm here, oh, I'm here, oh, I'm here. And now it seems like, okay, you're resting your feet. We're not swinging around so much anymore. Damn, we got that Magician again. Okay, so you don't want to create in worry and unsteady energy. That's what they're showing me right here. You got to pay attention. You got to pay attention to what you're making. You have to stay balanced. You have to pay attention to what you're doing and stay as balanced as you possibly can. This is the jam. This is the way to go right now. You don't want to create in the unsteady 5 energy. You don't want to undermine yourself. So a lot of times this card can be about you self-sabotaging, you getting on your own shit, ruining your own shit. See where you're doing it. Figure out where you're doing it. I feel like we all do it. I feel like this is, you know, this is a universal human thing that we do. So figure out where you're doing it, if you're doing it, or if you slip into it, or if you slip in and slip out. If you're doing the tango with it, whatever it is, figure it out. And don't go into stress and worry. So stress and worry creates more stress and worry. You have to, I'm just being very bossy today, but you have to recognize that and say, okay, I get it. I get it. Things are not great right now. I've had that. But stress and worry has never solved any of my problems. Ever. Not one time has stressing on something or worrying about anything solved the problem. There's no point. All it managed to do is get me all geeked up and freaked out and make me feel like crap and give me a sleepless night and maybe cause me to eat way too many potato chips, and that's it. That's all it would ever do. You know, it never, ever, ever once solved my problem. So make sure that you're not self-sabotaging. Make sure you're not undermining your own behavior. Make sure you're not undermining the universe. You are co-creating with the universe, and the universe is always trying to deliver you your highest potential. So you want to make sure your highest potential is very, very high, because that's how the universe works. It's always saying, this is the best we've got for you. This is the best we've got. Here's the best we've got. So if this is the best the universe can deliver, but you're only able to make it to here, and here may not be a bad place. Maybe J-Lo is here, but it's not a bad place, okay? But this is the best you're going to get. Until you increase your potential, you're not going to make it up here. So if the universe let's say, looks at you and says, okay, the best we've got for you with your, you know, energy grids, lifetime, ancestral energy, you know, background, personality, you know, your weird neuroses. The best we can give you is, I'm just going to go material with this. The best we can give you is, you know, a condo in Manhattan and, you know, a huge vacation in Greece every other year. That's the best we can give you. I know it sounds pretty good, right? And let's throw in a partner too. And a partner that loves you but isn't in love with you, you know, isn't crazy about you. This is no big romance, but they love you. That's what you get. That's the best we can give you. And you're over here like, I'm garbage, I'm a piece of shit, I'll never, you know, you're talking about how you'll never travel the world, you'll never be able to go to Greece, which is the one place you want to go to. There's no way you can afford it. You look at the finances every day and the finances are terrible, and you know, nobody's going to love you because you're just not attractive enough, that you can't get here. You can't get to where the universe is trying to get you. You can only get here. You're limiting yourself. No matter what it is. I mean, we all do it. I'm not saying, you know, it's not a criticism. But we are all limited by the boundaries of our own potential, and we're setting those boundaries. Okay? FYI. Show me what else. Show me what else. What else do they need to know? Show me that. Now that I've been screaming at you. I think it's hormonal. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit hormonal. I think it's a little bit. I've been calling pharmacies all day trying to find, I think I found a really good brand of birth control, and it looks like nobody carries it. So that's the new fun thing. If I have to look for another brand, I'm gonna be pissed. I've already had Eliza read on it and everything. She was like, oh yeah, this brand is great for you. Can't find it. So what else? Show me that. I think a good thing to work on too, especially when you're trying to either shift or manifest the reality. Now, if you're in the reality you love, such as myself, I'm very happy right now, then you just have to open up to it. But I think when you're trying to shift also, or you're trying to change things, it's good to make sure that you are open to the shifting and the changing. You're not pushing, but you're accepting. So no matter where you are, if you're very happy where you are, gratitude, 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 perpetuate where you are by being grateful for where you are. You make that go. If you're not, make sure you say, you know, this is okay. I'm alive. The sun is shining. This is good stuff. However, you know, I really need a good relationship, universe. Let's work on that together. And then you open to it. And now I'm open to it. And you can always say, you know, hey, universe, I'm really grateful we're working on me getting this relationship together. I'm really grateful for your help, universe. You know, even if you feel like the universe isn't being that helpful, the more gratitude you put out, the better it is. I promise you that. So last little message here. Okay. The last little message here is this. First of all, you have time. So it doesn't look to me like, you know, this week you're grounded in the reality and that's it. It looks like you have time to kind of play with things a little bit here, but we are definitely cementing in a new space. It's not collective yet. It's so weird. It really feels like it's happening on individual levels. And of course this makes sense because we are just behind the two eclipses. It makes sense. And we're going, you know, we have Uranus just went retrograde, Jupiter just went direct. So it makes sense that we're kind of in this new space as individuals. But it really feels like we've got our feet on the floor. It feels to me like, okay, we have things that are evidence of what we've been doing for the last few months. So your turnover is going slow. So you've got time. So if you're like, things, I want to tweak it. I want to tweak it a little or a lot. You've got time. Here's time. Here's your shifting above, here's your new energy below. So this is what we're coming out of, this is what we're going into. We have time, temperance is here, we have time. And at the root of the reading we have the, first of all, it is a card of time. It is a card of time. It's also a card of work, but it's also a pentacle, which is the grounding of reality. So you've got time to do this. You have time to do this. Really stay balanced, really stay out of fear. And I think it's a good time period to release karma. It's fluid. Here's your home environment. Yes, it's a card called Bound, but what I'm obsessed with is the swamp she's standing on. So this is the home environment. It's fluid right now. Things are still, I don't want to say relatively fluid, but I would say 50% fluid right now. You have time. So you've got the 2 pages here. The Page of Wands, the Page of Swords. These cards are saying to you, what are you thinking? What are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you doing? What are you creating? Look at what you're creating. Not only that, but look at what's coming towards you as well. So he's looking off into the distance, but he's got the sword back here. Whereas he's looking at his wand like, all right, what have I got in my hands? So you got to look at both. You got to look at what you're doing in here and what you're doing out there. So if you're in here and you're doing all, you're doing positive affirmations, you've taken on T's manifestation course, you're doing the whole deal, but out there, the first words out of your mouth when you meet your friend for drinks is, my love life is hopeless. You're in deep shit Arkansas, baby. That's not a thing. Don't do that. So what is going in? What is going out? What is coming to you? What are you accepting? It is an excellent time for balancing karma and balance karma. And I think you can do it in a woo-woo way because we've got our Queen of Cups here. No, it's not the Queen of Wands. She's kind of our witchy card. But Queen of Cups is like, for me, it's emotional work. It's internal work. I think it's stuff that you can do yourself. It's a great time to get rid of that so you don't cement that into the reality that we are currently cementing. So we just poured a patio. Let's say we poured a sidewalk. Our cement is half dry. So you still have time to write your initials in it. Okay, you have a lot of time here. But make sure that you are coming from a place of peace and abundance. That's here with an eye towards the future. So what you're working on now creates the future. What you're working on now creates the future. So think about what you're doing consciously. Most people, I'm really hyper aware of this. Most people are not. Most people create unconsciously all the damn time. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I catch myself doing it a lot. I catch myself thinking things where it's like, oh, I'll never XYZ. It's, Kirsten, shut up. Oh, I'm worried about money. Kirsten, stop it. You know, oh, I lost 20 patrons today. Oh, God, that's the worst. I had to train myself not to freak out when that happens. But we all do it. I think we should all be me. Oh my God. But I think it behooves everybody to be more aware of it, more aware of what you're creating. I am like, because I've seen myself create situations unconsciously and then have to live them, which is what we're doing now, right? We have created situations, the universe has created situations. We are getting into a space where we will have to live them now. They become the reality. I've done it unconsciously. I've made huge messes that way. So now I make sure that I am creating consciously as much as I possibly can. I still catch myself all the time on the daily, but it's definitely cut down on the chaos in my life, and it's definitely cut down on getting surprised. The psychic gets surprised. No, it does. It's cut down on getting surprised by things because it's like, I know I'm consciously creating this, and I can look at other people and I become really aware of their conscious creations, you know, and what they're putting out and the kind of statements they're making, and I'm going, oh, you're consciously creating that. Stay the fuck over there, bitch. But I think for a lot of people, figure out what you're I think all people, but I think a lot of people right now especially, figure out what you're creating consciously, because all the ingredients are going in the bowl, baby, and you're gonna have to eat the cake. We all want delicious cake. Oh God, I'm starving. Okay, I have to go. You know, once the food analogy comes in, it's time to go. So yeah, you're gonna have to eat the cake. So figure out, you know, the universe put a couple of its own ingredients in here or there. You got to figure out how to balance those ingredients out and get your own really delicious, wonderful ingredients in. And on that note, I will see you guys. When will I see you? Thursday for the 5x5 Live. If you're not at the $5 tier, you can jump up. So you'll only be charged the $2. We'll be talking about all the stuff you want to talk about. Talk about Epstein. Probably going to be Epstein. All right, guys.